Today we are doing some stretches and some warm-ups, finding the odd integer out, and then we are delving into some Pig Latin. Hello world, and this is Versus Code Wars. Begin today with a new segment to Versus Code Wars called the Warm-Up, where I take on a series of easier 7 to 8 Q katas to warm up for later katas in today's episode. Let's go ahead and get started with a kata that calls for us to create a function taking a positive or negative integer as an argument and returns even for even numbers and odd for odd numbers. Let's go ahead and give this a try here. Const even or odd, and it takes an integer. And we return even if integer modulo 2 is equal to 0. Because if integer modulo 2, or rather the remainder of integer divided by 2 is 0, then the number is even. So if this integer modulo 2 is 0, then we return even. Otherwise, we return odd. Alright, so go ahead and hit train on this and submit the solution here. Run our tests. And we are good on that one. Next up, our next warm-up kata is called highest and lowest. This function takes a string of numbers separated by spaces, and our goal here is to return the highest and lowest numbers in this sequence of numbers. Let's go ahead and hit train and get started with this one. Const high and low. It'll take our numbers as a string of numbers separated by spaces. We'll need to go ahead and split that. Const numbers split equals numbers dot split, and we'll split that into substrings using a space as a delimiter. Now for good measure, we'll go ahead and map the each of the number strings into actual integers here, and we can do that by running the map method and in the predicate function returning parse int number string. Alright, what we can go ahead and do from here is this kata expects a string with the highest then lowest number. So we can go ahead and do this. We'll return a template literal, and we'll do first math.max, and then we'll go ahead and spread out the numbers split variable that we set before. And then we can go ahead and do separated by space math.min. Same thing, numbers split. Alright, let's go ahead and paste this into Code Wars and see what that looks like. Run the tests. Test pass, and we are good on that one. Now the third and final warm-up kata of the morning is Vowel Count. Return the number given a string, our goal here is to return the number of vowels in that string. Let's go ahead and give this one a try here. Let's hit train. Our function is called get count. It takes a string. And what we'll go ahead and do here is split that string into its individual characters. And then filter out anything that is not a vowel. Filter out anything here that is not a vowel. Filter char. And we'll return true if AIOU dot includes char. Let's try this, and we do need to get the count of them, so we'll return the length of the resulting array. Alright, let's paste this into Codewars here. Run the tests. Expected 2 to equal 5. Alright, let's go ahead and log this string here. See where we're going wrong. Ah, yeah. That was a dumb mistake. I was trying to split the string using the string itself as a delimiter. I should have used a blank space. Alright, we are good. Let me go ahead and reflect that in our local solution. Alright, that concludes our warm-up section this morning. Let's get to the next kata. Given an array of integers, the goal of this kata is to find the one integer that occurs an odd number of times in the array. Let's go ahead and get started here. I think we're going to go ahead and utilize a cache here. What we're going to go ahead and do is const integer occurrences equals integers dot reduce. We're going to do our cache value, and for our initial accumulator we're going to have an empty object here. And what we're going to go ahead and do is if cache at value, if not cache of value, if it's not present in the object, we'll go ahead and do cache at value equals 0, or rather 1, to indicate that this is the first instance of that value in the array. Otherwise, what we'll go ahead and do is, or rather what we need to do is return ... spread out the cache, and set a key equal to the value to 1 to indicate that this is the first occurrence of that value in the array. Otherwise, if that value is present in the cache, what we'll go ahead and do is return ... cache. I think it's value cache.value plus 1. Alright, let's go ahead and console.log the resulting object to see what that looks like here. Get rid of the semicolon here. Integer occurrences. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pull this array here from the kata instructions here to use for an example. Do console.log find odd and pass in our array here. Let's feed that into node, see what that looks like here. Node odd int. And that is not what we were expecting here. So or rather cache at value using bracket notation here rather than dot. And here we have now a cache of the number of occurrences of each of our elements in the array. Note that the number 4 occurs once in here. We want to return that. Now the Kata ensures that there will only be one number in that array that occurs an odd number of times. So what we'll go ahead and do is for const number, or rather integer, in integer occurrences. We use a for in loop to iterate over the properties of an object. What we'll go ahead and do is, or rather, yeah, what we'll go ahead and do is if cache at integer modulo 2 is not equal to 0. We use something like this during one of our warm-up katas today. If the remainder of cache at integer, or rather the number of occurrences of that integer in the array that we passed in, if that number of occurrences, the remainder of that number of occurrences divided by 2 is not 0, then we know that number is odd, and we can go ahead and just return that integer. Otherwise, if we reach the end of this array and we have not found that integer, we can just go ahead, for the sake of elegance, return 0, or maybe return false. Alright, let's go ahead and punch this into Codewars. First, let's go ahead and test that and see what that looks like. Cache is not defined. Or rather, integer occurrences. Alright, let's try that again. And it does return 4, which is the sole element in this array that occurs an odd number of times in the array. In this case, once. Alright, let's go ahead and submit this to Codewars here. And see how their tests pan out. And try to submit it. And we've got a problem. What's going on here? Integers is not defined. Yeah, okay. Just change the argument name here. Still problems. Okay, this needs to be... Oh, okay. Well, this is returning our integer as a string. Let's go ahead and remediate that by wrapping this integer inside a parse int. Now let's try it. And we are good. Normally, when setting properties in JavaScript objects, you would have your key, which is a string, followed by a colon, and then followed by that property's value. However, what if you wanted the key to be set as the value of another variable? Well, in that key string's place, insert that variable name wrapped in brackets, and then what will happen is that property will be set with the key set to the value of that variable, as you saw in our reduce method here in our kata. Given a sentence, the goal of this kata is to translate that sentence into Pig Latin, in which for each word, all consonants before the first vowel are moved to the end of the word and are followed by the letters AY. Or, if the first letter is a vowel, the word is appended with WAY. This kata expects casing and punctuation to be preserved in the returned string. Let's go ahead and get started with this. As you can see, I got this hello world in our console.log here. Note the capitalization and the punctuation. These need to be preserved. So we can't simply use split to get our substrings here. What we'll need to do is use a regular expression to extract those words here. And what I think we'll do here, I think this kind of calls for the use of the replace method. What we'll go ahead and do is return sentence dot replace. We use a regular expression here to capture any word in our string, and we'll do that with plus w slash w plus. This should capture letters in our string here. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll replace it with the return value of a predicate function that accepts any matches as our parameters here. Let's go ahead and console.log that and see what that looks like. Let's feed this into Node here. And as you can see, it picks up each of our words. Now, what we'll need to do is we need to determine if the first letter of each of our words are capitalized. Does string have... No. Alright, we need to determine if the first letter rather is a capital letter. What I think we'll go ahead and do here is we'll go ahead and get the character codes of the letters capital A and capital Z. Const cap A equals this capital A char code at and cap Z dot char code at we'll go ahead and set a Boolean flag here is capitalize equals match dot char code at index 0 is greater than or equal. Well, first let's go ahead and get that char code first. So letter char code equals match dot char code at 0 const is capitalized equals first letter char code is greater than or equal to cap A and first letter char code is less than or equal to cap Z. Alright, so what we're going ahead and doing first is we're getting the character code of the first letter of our matched word, match.char code at passing 0 in, and then we're setting a Boolean flag which is set to true if this char code falls in between the char codes of capital A and capital Z inclusively. Alright, we will need this flag soon enough. Alright, what we'll go ahead and do next, we need to get the index of the first vowel of our word here. Let's go ahead and set a variable here. First vowel index equals okay, I think we definitely will need another regular expression here. Let's see. Find index. Does this take a regular expression? Rather match dot. Alright. No. Okay, what I might need to do... Let's try a regular expression here. Another one here. That captures any one of the following vowels: A, E, I, O, and U. Now, let's try running exec on this on the matched word. We're gonna go ahead and console.log that and see what that looks like. Yeah, but they do seem to return the index here. Let's try getting that. Yep. So what we'll go ahead and do here, we'll run the exec method from this regular expression on our matched string, and then we'll return the index of that. Now, what if there was an instance where there were no vowels in it? If that's the case, then this will be null. Okay, so what we'll go ahead and do is just go ahead and set this, and then constant first vowel index equals first vowel dot index or -1. If this is null, it can't find this index here. We'll go ahead and set this instead to -1. Let's see what that looks like. We may need to use this operator here. This is a nullish coalescing operator. What's going on here is it's gonna try to look for this index inside first vowel. If this is null, it won't be able to find this. So this will probably be set to undefined, which is a falsy value. So it'll catch this OR operator and evaluate this to -1. Let's see what that looks like. Unexpected token dot. Alright, maybe not. Okay, what we'll go ahead and try here is first we'll do a little ternary operation here. Dot index or -1. So if this is not null, it'll go ahead and look for the index in here. Otherwise, it'll just return -1. Let's actually go ahead and console.log that and see what that looks like. Yep, it should have -1 here. Let's go ahead and bring back our original string here. Alright, with that being said, need to do a little bit of an if statement here. If first vowel index is -1, or first Yeah, if first vowel index is less than or equal to 0. That way, the first vowel, either the first vowel occurs as the first element of our string, or there is no vowel in that string. What we'll go ahead and do is return match way. I think that's how we do it here. All right. Otherwise, the first vowel occurs after the first letter of the string, in which case we'll go ahead and get a substring, consonant substring equals match dot substring starting from 0 and going to first vowel index. We're going to go ahead and console.log that and see what that looks like. And it should only capture a substring of our match up until the first vowel. That is what we would like to do here. And we're going to go ahead and from here do const return string equals, I think, match dot substring. We're going to do a little template literal here. Match dot substring first vowel index. And then our consonant substring, and then AY. We're going to take all that and convert it to lowercase. And then we'll do an if statement here. If the initial matched string was capitalized, we'll go ahead and do return. Return a string at 0 to uppercase. And then return a string dot slice 1. And otherwise, if it wasn't capitalized, we'll just go ahead and return a string. All right, let's go ahead and run that through Node to see what that looks like. Elohe Ordway. As you can see, our capitalization and punctuation is preserved here. All right, let's try another phrase here. Maybe pizza, yes, please. Itape, es yeah, is play. As you can see again, our capitalization and punctuation is preserved. I think this is good to go. Let's go ahead and submit this to Codewars and see what that looks like. And change this function name to translate. And let's try submitting this. And we are good. In determining whether a string is capitalized, one thing I could have done better was to use the string object's char at method, passing in 0 to return the first character of the string. and then running that character through the string objects to uppercase method and comparing the return value and that character to see if they are the same. In this kata, you saw me use the regular expression objects exec method, which takes a string as a parameter and returns not only the substring in that passed-in string, which matches that regular expression, but also the index in the passed-in string where that match occurs. And that will do it for today's episode of Versus Codewars. If you like this video or you learned something new, drop a like and subscribe to my channel to see me take on more coding challenges on Codewars. Let me know what you think about the new warm-up section that I've adopted today. I might do a little tweaking on that in the future. As always, if you think there's anything I can do to improve on my code, feel free to drop a suggestion in the comments section below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode of Versus Codewars.